That fourth item is mental illness. When people hear about mental illness, a lot of people are like, why are you talking about that? We don't want to talk about that. It's an important subject to talk about, though. The reason why it's so important is because it affects our lives daily. Not just my life, but your life, and your life, and your life, and your life. It affects us all. I'll give you an example. Lately in the news, we hear a lot about suicide. And when you hear about suicide, people are like, why would you do that? What would push somebody that far to commit suicide? In the news, we just recently had one of the Parkland survivors from South Florida who committed suicide. And what pushed that girl to commit suicide was the grief she felt about what had happened. She felt this, what they call survivor's guilt. She had survived while people she knew, she grew up with, and she cared about died. The guilt she felt, she didn't get help for it. And when you don't get help for something, things can fester and really eat at you. And that could be a really, really bad feeling. Another thing about mental illness is there are different types of mental illness. 1 in 5 people in the world will have mental illness. You can have it, your family member can have it, your neighbor can have it. It's a very, very common thing. There are certain types of mental illness that I talk about. One is bipolar. And bipolar, a lot of people use that as a way to describe somebody with mood swings. Oh, you're just bipolar. You go up, you go down. You go up, you go down. Yes, that could be true, but that's not all that entails. Here's a serious, serious thing. When you have the bipolar depression, sometimes you feel like the world is against you. You're in this deep, dark hole, and you can't get out. What am I going to do? Why am I living? What's wrong with me? That is a major reason why people commit suicide, because they get in this deep, dark place, and they don't know how to talk to people. Because some people will say, oh, you're just sad, or you need to look up, things will get better. Sometimes people lose hope. And when you lose hope, you don't see that light at the end. You don't see the thing that could get better. Then there's the opposite side, the mania. Some people, when they hear about mania, they're like, what's that? Mania is when you're in a hyper sense of mode. You have racing thoughts. You sometimes distribute or display things of impulsivity. You have delusions of grandeur. You think you're something you're not, or more important than you are. You have what they call psychosis, which can be dangerous. Psychosis can be displayed in an aggression, but not just an aggression, a rage. And when people go through this rage, it's very dangerous. And a lot of times when they're going through this, they don't know where they are. They don't know who they're hurting. They could be hurting themselves, or they could be hurting other people. And that is a very, very scary thing. Another thing I like to talk about is schizophrenia. That's another word that people use incorrectly. Oh, you're just schizophrenic. And when anybody hears schizophrenia or schizo anything, they think, oh my God, that person's dangerous. They're going to attack me and throw a chair at me. But that's not true. People with schizophrenia, a lot of times, are confused. And they may be in their own little world. Or they may be paranoid and not know what's going on. But that's okay. I've talked a lot about mental illness, and the title of my speech is called My Story of Recovery. To bring it all home, I was diagnosed when I was 15. I was young, and I thought it was just hormones. But I was able to get help early. And through medication, therapy, and other things, I was able to live a balanced and stable life. The reason I give this speech today is not to talk about me or make it about me, but it's to give awareness. And one way we can get awareness is by looking up things. I belong to the local NAMI, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness. That is the largest grassroots organization in the world that not only teaches, but informs about mental illness. If you have any questions or want to learn anything more, go to NAMI.org. Mr. Conte.